what happened here was just showboating. They're just trying to have this show of force.
The rule of law is premised on equal justice, despite our differences, despite our class differences, despite...
This is both unprecedented and wrong. Absolutely wrong. There's no precedence for taking a judge in this manner.
The idea that no person is above the law is a bedrock principle of American justice.
No man is above the law, no matter what the crime.
And I agree with you. No man is above the law, and no person is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Or we will be here for Judge Dugan as long as it takes. This, I have never seen anything like this in all my years.
Judge, anything to say about this?
She's a runner, she's a track star. This lady is running away. She doesn't want to accept responsibility for the fact that she thought she could be judge, jury, and executioner. She thought that she was a member of Congress. She could just write the laws and execute the laws, and she could do whatever she wanted. And the fake news is melting down, okay? This lady, Hannah Dugan, woke behind judge out of Wisconsin, decided that she was going to free the illegal aliens. She was gonna risk it all. Like, she thinks she's handling the Underground Railroad. She thinks she's a Harriet Tubman freeing the slaves. Okay, she's freeing the slaves. These people are so woke and so virtuous that they believe that they're a hero. Okay, they're preventing somebody from being locked up who came to the country unlawfully. You know, they could have just stayed where the hell they was at and not dealt with these types of problems. But no, they decided to put themselves in this situation for whatever reason. And as a judge, it's not your responsibility to decide to withhold them from law enforcement, but that's what this dummy idiot tried to do. Now she over here trying to scurry away looking like a little penguin, scurrying away like a freaking loser now. After all of this time, all this whole lifelong situation of being this person who probably was doing good things for the judiciary, now you found yourself in the same position of a lot of people that you have judged. Now you're going to be judged for being a criminal because you decided that you wanted to pretend to be the next Harriet Tubman, and it failed miserably. I do think that this is not going to go well. So MSDNC, they're melting down about this, even though they were some of the first ones saying that it was okay to prosecute former presidents executing on their executive authority and even potentially lock them up in prison, something that is completely unprecedented to press any type of charges against presidents of the United States, much less the prospect of having a president sitting in jail. Like, just the imagery of that would be devastating to the nation. But dude, the fake news, do they care about that? No. But apparently in this case, arresting a judge is the most unprecedented thing we've ever seen.
He is being treated no better or worse than anyone else. Everyone will be treated, as Merrick Garland has said, as, equally in this country. This is really a great day for America. So there has been a violation here that we know for sure, and it is not the judge. Right, exactly. You don't do it. Even if you thought that there was a ground for doing this, the judgment call that you thought that this is the case to bring, it tells you everything. There is no adult in the room who would have said, "Are you kidding me? Why would you possibly do this?" And the answer is because we want to send a signal to the judiciary. And that's what you shouldn't be doing.
Have taken the extraordinary step to arrest a judge for allegedly obstructing an immigration arrest. Again, I know how fresh this is, Gary, but do we know how unusual is a situation like this for feds to arrest a judge?
Well, this is incredibly unusual. This is certainly not something we saw during the Biden administration. It's certainly new here, Anna.
Yeah, they're wanting to make a statement.
You also got Clown News Network, CNN, over here, Legacy News, CNN, that nobody watches, over here melting down as well. And what's hilarious is, even though a couple of the folks at the network wanted to melt down and clutch their pearls like they always do, you have a couple folks who said, well, actually, this isn't too unprecedented. As a matter of fact, there were charges against another judge also during the Trump administration, but Guess who dropped those charges?
Level judge in Wisconsin. The FBI just arrested a Wisconsin judge accusing her of shielding an immigrant from federal officials. When you're doing stuff like that, it makes people say, not enough people, mind you, but more people all the time say, that's not what I had in mind when Trump was talking about immigration. And these, by the way, are the same people who, when they talk about tariffs, are saying, I voted for Trump because he said he was going to lower prices.
Something that we have certainly not seen before, but appears to be part of this aggressive approach the Trump administration has toward immigration.
Looking at the complaint, let's strip the politics out of it. This is a crime. If they can prove what happened here, it is a crime. This judge, let's strip the Trump of it all out. Let's strip the immigration of it all out. Let's say law enforcement shows up at a building with an arrest warrant. They're looking for person A. Person B then says, hey, there's a secret escape door out back. I'm going to show you the way, and then ushers that person out the back door. That is textbook obstruction.
One of the things that I think should really be highlighted here is not, the case against the judge, it's unusual, but it's not unprecedented. There has been a case like this before in 2019 during the first Trump administration, charging a judge in Massachusetts who was accused of something very similar, trying to usher someone out of that courtroom as ICE officials were waiting for that defendant. In that case, that ended up being resolved. Those charges were dropped in the Biden administration against that judge in Massachusetts, but she ended up cutting a deal. So it was a legitimate case there as well.
So Sleepy Joe doesn't think that it's okay to prosecute immigration judges. He just lets them all go. He wants to prosecute the Jan 6ers and let them sit in jail for eternity, many of them with no trial. And yet, when it comes to these judges, they get to just break every law. You get to try to lock Trump up, throw the book at President Trump. But when it comes to other woke judges literally breaking the law, caught red-handed, they get to get off scot-free. The pearl clutching has just been so stupid. These people are like singing.
Justice, no peace. Judge Dugan will be free. No justice, no peace. Judge Dugan will be.
You got Don Lemon over here melting down.
Is this what we've come to? A judge being arrested by the FBI. A judge in Wisconsin was arrested by the FBI. They're accusing her of at least misleading ICE agents or throwing them off the trail of someone that they deem to be an illegal alien, as they call them, or an undocumented person. It's really scary. Kash Patel was behind it. He put up a tweet. He has since deleted it. I want to know what's going on. Is this where we're living, in a time where you can detain judges because they're not doing what you want them to do? What happened to the independence of the judiciary? We're supposed to have 3 branches of government.
Shut up, bitch!
And then you have people that actually know what they're talking about. You have Pam Bondi over here exposing the radical left as stupid behind hypocrites that don't know what they're talking about in every single thing that Trump does. This is what makes the left look stupid. If Trump does A and you argue for B, but everybody supports A, you look dumb. This person was not a good person. The judge was in the wrong. But the Democrats automatically jump behind like, this is a constitutional crisis. This is scary. This is scary. It's so scary. Who is doing the fear mongering here? It's supposed to be Trump who was just trying to use fear. No, the Democrats are using fear. They keep invoking things like Hitler and saying we're putting people in gulags and concentration camps, but Pam Bondi exposes them and makes them look so dumb.
So rare for victims to want to cooperate. They wanted to cooperate. They were sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom. You're not going to believe this. Takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave. While a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom. We are going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. I found out about this the day it happened. We could not believe, actually, that a judge really did that. We looked into the facts in great depth. That's her picture up on the screen, Hannah Dugan, who is now in custody. You cannot obstruct a criminal case, and really, shame on her. It was a domestic violence case of all cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
You got a person who beat the hell out of 2 people. Judge knows about it. Victim still in the courtroom, and the judge is like, hey, go out this door. Bro, I hope this judge gets the book thrown at him, just like the person in the last video. Do I hear it too? I don't hear nobody else talk about no Pam Bondi again. I don't hear nobody else. Now, obviously, we got to see what type of actual, sentencing and stuff like that. Because, look, if these people don't end up getting seriously charged in some kind of way, I'm talking like see them in prison, not jail, where you go to jail for like 2 seconds. You don't even go behind bars for real. I'm talking about we'll see somebody in prison for, especially the Trinidad Aragua guy, having him got a stowaway in his building, in his house. And now judges directly define immigration, law enforcement in this country. No, these people need to go to prison. If you're going to try to put Trump in prison over an administrative accounting error, I'm not trying to hear nothing about, oh, this wasn't that serious. No, we need to give them a slap on the wrist. No, these people need to be punished severely. Make the fake news. If the fake news doesn't melt down about this, if the radical left doesn't cry and complain and act like little babies about this and little sourpusses, then that means you didn't do enough. You really didn't do anything. So I need to see people on TV crying and screaming and yelling and upset and melting down and protesting. I need to see it all. If we don't see that, that means that Donald Trump hasn't done his job and he's let the radical left win yet again. And we cannot have that happen. These people need to pay for obstruction of the administration and everything that they're doing and being woke as hell and going against the majority of what the country wishes, and they need to pay dearly. But these are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
And anybody who breaks the law should be held accountable.
And that no one is above the law.
No one is above the law, and our president is not above the law. I always thought that this country, that no one was above the law.